Hello and welcome. In this next message, I wanted to extend and I guess extrapolate further on a nuance or a different portion of the reality shift that you have been experiencing and give you a different perspective or a different way to adjust your being into your form. So the nature of the shift is such that um, your planetary structure is starting to remember a predestined blueprint that it has been holding within itself from the core of its being. And so, even though you are interpreting your specific timeline um, and your historic sequence of events on the very linear transitory phase, I wanted to point out that Earth, as a being, and all living structure of Earth, all the terraformed land forms and the water forms, um, have had a vast array of these experiences of going through different frequencies of adjustments, this band being one of them already. So the band that you're experiencing right now, Earth has seen many times over. And so if you think of this transitory phase as a linear loop with a serpent-like pattern of expansion, then you will realize that what you're experiencing in this time frame is your unique interpretation of the first time of this adjustment, but Earth's and the natural ecosystem of Earth is basically on um, uncountable cycle of this reality, and so part of this amazing process, a part of this amazing interface change is that you actually have this amazing resource around you that is your planet, that is your ecosystem, that is your rivers and your trees and your forest and your land, that is able to already hold the frequency that you're, from the perception of self, are newly becoming awakened to. And so, if you wanted a sense of ease, or if you wanted a sense of um, a relief into an easier transition into this new interface, into this new open format of living, start to connect more with your ancient forest, ancient waters, ancient mountains, ancient trees, your flora and fauna that is quite aware of its own cyclical nature of being, but holds the history and holds the memory of this transitory phase that you are, again, perceivably experiencing for the first time. But then, of course, the memory of your land and the memory of your ecosystem holds all knowledge. And so, thus, the phase shift can be entered to in ease with, I will use this term, simple tree hugging. So if you are ever at the space of overwhelm to where this frequency is overriding you and you feel like you're untethered and you feel like all of a sudden it's too much, use the tools that are available to you, such as your forms of waters, any form of water on earth, your forms of grasslands, your forms of trees, your forms of mountains, and quite literally allow yourself to sink in into the knowing of thyself as the greater interpretation of the whole, and recognize your oneness in this transitory phase with the nature of you that is the nature of everything around you. And so, from a very practical standpoint, you can simply sit in a secluded um, park, or a space in the park, or secluded, a river band, or secluded um, a stream or a mountain or a hill, and tune in into the wisdom of your planet, tune in into the wisdom of Mother Earth and everything that she has holds as this frequency, and allow yourself to calm down from any one influx or any one extrapolation where you feel overwhelmed and the frequency is too much for you to hold, and simply, you start to ground in. The term that you use on earth is grounding in. And so ground in into that reality, ground in into that phase shift, and allow yourself to go through it with ease. Just go through it with help of your surroundings, and then with help of the natural resources you have around you that hold this innate memory and the innate knowing, and have shifted and have experienced and will continue to experience the multitude of this phasing and rephasing in, um, as you're experiencing right now. Something to add on from the different standpoint is your your perceived reality is large and vast. And so at times you will feel like when you enter into this knowledge, this amount of vastness is too much to hold, right? And you will naturally, especially if you're not densifying and you'll get bombarded with more density that, you know, you have your own set of densities, but you will have that there you already will be shedding, right? And it's already hard enough for you to shed off these densified forms of being in order to be able to phase in into the planet as it progresses. But taking on more density and taking on other people's density and taking on other forms that will help you reawaken your density and then actually drag you down would be counterproductive, right? But you will have those times where the awareness of your doing of that will become um, I guess negated at the best way to put it. And then thus you will, kind of fall into that overwhelm. But one, realize that that is what is happening. You're shedding your density, which is already intense enough, considering you have been in this form for so long, holding this density as your reality. And then whenever you start to see this density leave, and then you see yourself past this density, the picture on the other side could be overwhelming, right? And so the natural human protection mechanism that we have is to kind of make ourselves small, right? To densify, to contract. And so just realize that yes, that is the way you have been defending your system for a very long time, is this contraction and then densification, and then reliance on the smallness of self, but realize that is not the suggested path of being. And so, thus, instead of contracting and feeling overwhelmed and then secluding, simply truly attempt to stay open into that phase and allow that shift to take place. And again, just simply separate from all other density and go into nature. And then, put your feet in the water and allow that the wisdom of the water to shift, to help you shift. Water, out of everything out there on your plane, water holds the largest form of memory. And so just simply allowing the water wash over your body or your feet or your hands, it will naturally instill that process within you. And then just open yourself intuitively to the knowledge that will just simply come in through and will allow you to sink in and expand, continue to expand when in fact, I would admit contracting would feel much more comfortable. And so hold in there. You're being held and you're being guided in so many ways. But this is a very practical and easy way for you to realize that you hold the power of how this shift takes place and how this expansion becomes so. So thank you for listening. And we'll see you here in a bit.